Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you, BioLife, for inviting me today and giving me the opportunity to talk to you all. I just got to know that we have about half the population attending today is from Brunei. So, welcome you all to the BioLive event, and also to the family we all represent. Currently is from ABVC BioPharma. I'm the CEO of the company. We are listed at Nasdaq. So before I step into the important question that most of you are still waiting for the answer from us, I would like to give a little introduction of the entire group to you. This is the group stands, ABVC BioPharma being the parent company. Like I said, we are listed at Nasdaq. We currently have 4 major subsidiaries. One is AIBTL BioPharma, another is OncoX, Fosicon I Corporation, and BioKey is basically our production facility present at Fremont in the United States. So where does BioLive stands? BioLive is basically the subsidiary of our subsidiary AIBTL BioPharma. So we are not directly controlling BioLife or not in directly belong to the ownership of BioLife, but we are related to BioLife through AIBTL and one of our product that you have already been introduced called as EMIO. So EMIO, the manufacturing is actually taking place at BioKey. That's the 4th subsidiary that we have. Okay, so the important question that comes up about AIBTL BioPharma. Although I have few answers for you, but I'm still not advised to give out the news completely as of now, since we are still waiting for some final confirmations from the regulatory offices in the United States, from the SEC. However, there were a few regulatory approvals that were pending from the Taiwan side. I'm happy to announce that those regulatory approvals came back to us last week, and there's one pending approval, but that likely will be received by coming 2 weeks from now. So the plan about AIBTL's IPO is still ongoing, and we are progressing positively on that part. We will be expecting to announce publicly about the AIBTL IPO probably around 2 months from now. That's our expectation, provided ACC gives us the green signal as we are expecting from them. So AIBTL is the company that is actually going to work on the CNS disorder. We have a product that helps to regulate the behavioral changes for MDD, that is a major depressive disorder, and ADHD, that is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So the second subsidiary that we have is the Fosicon I Corporation. This particular product is not a plant-based product, but it's a chemical composition of 2 compounds, and it forms a gel. So that gel directly injected into the eye of the patient after the surgery. So this is classified as a medical device, not as a drug. We do have the approval from Australian FDA for this particular product to go for the pivotal clinical trials. We have completed the first in human studies there. The results were quite promising, and we hope that 100 patients data can be collected as quickly as possible, and then we could launch this product first in Australia, and then eventually we'll continue to do the clinical trial for another 250 patients, and then we can launch this product in the US market also. The third project that we are currently working on is the OncoX BioPharma. This is where your EMIO comes in. OncoX is basically going to commercialize EMIO as a drug product, and OncoX is the company that is going to work on the clinical studies for EMIO. For now, we have launched EMIO as a dietary supplement, but is the same formula that we are going to use to go for the clinical trials. We already have the phase 1 data for this particular EMO product that is being already marketed in Malaysia. But because that was licensed from MSKCC in US, which I will explain in the next slides. So we aim to do our own phase 1 clinical trial in Taiwan, so that we own the data by ourselves and we don't have to really rely on MSKCC's published data. Okay, so to give you more idea about what EMO actually is, EMO is the term that BioLife uses, whereas the term that we use for the clinical trial commercialization is Blex 404. To give you a brief idea about this product, this is a plant extract. Basically, it's an extract from mushroom called maitake, and we have extracted the active ingredient and formulated into a syrup. So you take it orally directly without mixing it into any other solution, and there's no chemicals added to it. In the formulation, there's only glycerol and ascorbic acid. That's just to facilitate absorption of EMO into your body. So what is maitake? Maitake is basically a mushroom that was found in the northern island of Japan, known as Hokkaido. It was found in the forest in Hokkaido under an oak tree. That was the first observance of maitake mushroom, and this has been known to human in the culinary art of Japanese cuisine for more than 100 years or so. But the real scientific studies for this particular mushroom started the year I was born. That's 1985. So it's not a very old scientific research that has been we are on. The word maitake itself says that mai in Japanese means dance and take is the mushroom. So there's a legend that says when these Japanese people, they found this mushroom, the aroma of this mushroom was so good that they felt like dancing, and hence they called it as maitake. So what we have done is maitake has beta glucans. There are different types of beta glucans present in maitake, and they are from small chain to long chain. To be just give you a brief idea, this is how the branching looks like. This branching is basically a chemical structure having 1,3 beta glucan with 1,6 branching. So I won't go into a deep structuring and chemical composition of this particular product, but this is how the extract of the mushroom looks like. It's brown in color. So is the color of your EMO. The syrup looks orange to brown in color. That color is basically because of this beta glucan. And the fraction that we extract, the mushroom has about 70% chitosan, which we remove, and then among the 30% of the extract that we have, we isolate the MD fraction of it. The MD fraction is basically a fraction of polysaccharides, that is these beta glucans, which are long chain and small chain all mixed together. It's very hard to really isolate each of these polysaccharides because they are complex structures, and the technology is not so advanced that we can isolate each and every polysaccharide separately. So we have formulated this into an oral liquid dose. The concentration of this dose is basically 40 milligram of the extract per ml. So if you are taking 2 ml one time, then you are actually taking like about 80 to 100 milligram of this mushroom extract. So why consider taking EMO or the maitake extract that we have? There are a lot of research that has been done on this product, from preclinical studies to animal studies to human study. I'll give you a brief idea about how the data has appeared and why you should rely on this particular product. So the main ability of our product is that it enhances the natural killer cell activity in the human body, which has been proved preclinically as well as in the clinical studies that were done in US. at MSKCC. And we have also observed cytotoxic T cell functions that were enhanced. We have seen the dendritic cell protection against tumor implantation when Mitake was used. So in mice chemotherapy model, immune suppression was observed to be reversed when Mitake was given to the mouse. So that's one key finding that pointed us towards this particular product. Yeah, so this is just the brief idea that I just explained, that how the pharmacology study was conducted and what kind of results were observed when the mouse was fed with Mitake mushroom. For the toxicity level, before taking a product to human trial, the most important thing is to understand whether this particular product will have any particular toxicity or not. And then there comes a study called as acute oral toxicity. We observed that a dose of more than 2000 milligram per kg did not show any adverse effect. So it shows that there was no abnormal appearance on the mouse or their behavior. So it's well tolerated among the animal model that we studied. And also the Ames test showed no mutagenicity. So it actually tells you that there won't be any negative implications on the future generations if you start taking this particular medicine. So it's quite safe and well tolerated in the animal model and also in the also for the human studies. Then a particular literature that was published in 2002, they studied the immune system when Mitake mushroom extract was used in combination with chemotherapy. And three major cancer patients they were under study. One was for liver cancer, another for lung cancer, and leukemia. So you can see in the data that the LK2 production before and after when the chemotherapy was done along with Mitake, the data was improved. Also for the CD4 plus cell count before and after, the data looks improved. So that shows that the combination therapy actually works in better combination, not just by doing chemotherapy alone. Whereas for the leukemia, if you see the data is not so promising or there's no significant difference in that. However, whatever data that is been observed is still considered significant compared to the marketed products that are being used in the treatment of leukemia. So if not a very good impact, but it still does have some positive impact on leukemia patients too. Okay, so how does Mitake actually helps? So thing is, in cancer, we have heard about cancer cells being transported from one organ to the another organ and spreading into the whole body of the patient. That's called as metastasis. So the proliferation or the transfer of these cancer cells from one part to the other part are significantly reduced by Mitake. That is one finding that was found, came forward when cancer cells were studied. And we also observed that there's apoptosis. Apoptosis is the action that a particular chemical can take against the cancer cell to kill it. So apoptosis was increased. So there are two ways Mitake actually helps. One is by killing the cancer cell, and another is by stopping it to spreading into your body. So this is another cancer patient's treatment that was done. So you can see the results have shown like good improvement in liver cancer, breast cancer, as well as lung cancer patients. So the percentage is quite high. When the percentage is above 50, it's a win situation for the product. And this is the data that was published in roughly 2001. This is regarding the different side effects that a patient undergoes when they are introduced to chemotherapy. And the data is for chemotherapy only, as well as chemotherapy plus Mitake. So you can see the gray graphs. They actually show that there's improvement when you use Mitake along with chemotherapy. So the side effects are lower, and that helps the chemo drug to perform its function more clearly and more precisely on the target cells. So what I have been talking about the human studies that were done on this particular product. They were carried out at MSKCC. This is the cancer center in the United States. They have done two studies. One is regarding the breast cancer patient, and another is for MDS patient. And in both cases, the most significant thing that was observed is there's no dose limiting toxicity. It means that even a higher dose can be administered to the patient, and you won't still see any side effects on that. Yeah, even for the MDS patient, it did show that the product was quite well tolerated, and it showed in vitro neutrophil and monocyte function that was enhanced, and it's quite beneficial for the MDS patients. So how and where do ABVC stand in terms of this product for the commercialization? Like I said, ABVC is the company who works on the clinical trials, and we are working on this particular product to launch this as a drug product and not just a dietary supplement. So these are the 4 INDs that were already been approved by US FDA. One of the IND for the non-small cell lung cancer was also approved by Taiwan FDA. So eventually, when OncoX gets to its IPO plan and brings in funds, these clinical trials would start, and we would be happy to do the phase 1 clinical trials in Taiwan first, and for one particular product, the phase 1 will be completed, and the other 3 would jump directly into the phase 2 clinical trials. Yeah, so that's all from my side. I hope I have answered you about the AIBTL's IPO plan, but there's also another good news that we had another IPO in the plan for BioKey Cayman, and we just got to know from ACC that the effectiveness for BioKey Cayman will be approved by next week. So hopefully we'll have that IPO completed in another 2 months time from now. So thank you.